I want to make one other note about Unrivaled now that it's come to its conclusion, because I've said from the beginning there's no downside, right? You could see an injury, of course, that can happen in any sport activity and any physical sport, especially basketball. Of course, you get on the court, you can get hurt. That's the way it is, and it doesn't have to be your cup of tea, but it's another entertainment option. And then it also served the purpose of allowing a lot of these women basketball players to make money who, would have had to go overseas or find another source of income. And it gets glossed over sometimes because as the WNBA is getting bigger and bigger, so many of these players have bigger and bigger profiles. And it's hard to sort of calculate in your head logically that they could be here from a star power standpoint, but here from an earnings power standpoint. Now, there are some realities to that, right? I mean, the reality of the matter is that the WNBA has not made money, and the NBA has subsidized the WNBA. We will see how the new media rights deal affects it, how this explosive growth and attendance affects it, and how the salaries may increase in the new CBA. But going on the past, which is what has gotten us to the present, there hasn't been money to go around. The reality of the salary is what it is. With that said, the salaries are not much. I mean, when you think about Caitlin Clark making $75,000 or whatever it is, that is an astoundingly low figure considering her notoriety and fame. And the same goes throughout the league for so many of the women, of course. And when you hear some of the numbers, you then realize, okay, these unrivaled salaries, not even just the salaries, but the extra bonuses that are thrown in matter. All the champions on Rose BC got an extra $50,000, which when you're making 75, whatever, $80,000 a year is a whole lot. Hell, it's a whole lot of money to almost anybody, right? An extra 50K. And I thought that was kind of put on display by the reactions from the players after the game, right? Caitlin Clark sort of teased Lexi Hull, or really more Aaliyah Boston. The Fever had put up this post of Lexi Hull congratulating her on winning with the Rose. And Caitlin Clark says, Aaliyah Boston, you didn't deserve this. I'm sorry. Basically saying that the Fever are rubbing it in, trolling a little bit there. But Aaliyah not only responded to that, but got on X and said this to Lexi Hull. Dinner on you, maybe? Because Lexi just got paid. In contrast to Aaliyah Boston, who did not. for Unrivaled, right? Though you can make the argument Aaliyah Boston shouldn't have been on the bench at the end of that game. Neither Fever girl played particularly well over the course of Unrivaled, but Aaliyah was playing very well in the championship game. Then you go and look at Angel Reese's timeline, and Angel Reese had said 50K, give me that. She didn't play in the game either, and I'm sure, I've seen all the jokes about Reese winning a championship with Lexi Hull and all. That's kind of funny, actually, though, Reese didn't even play in the playoffs. Obviously an important part of the Rose BC team on the way there. But Sydney Colson wrote back, hey, Angel Girl, just wanted to check in and see how you're doing and just let you know I'm here for you if you need anything, especially if you need to get rid of 50K by tomorrow or anything like that. To which Angel Reese replied, with the, and by the way, Angel's making a grip of money off the court as well. Don't get it twisted. But she replied to Sid and said, hey, sister, I'm doing well. Just won 50K on a flight. I know you are very aware, and I'm sorry to break it to you, but I'm on a rookie contract, and that 50K was a little more than half my contract, so I have to keep that to myself. Sorry, give me a few years, and I got you. Be well. So I want to give Unrivaled some credit for that, which get lost in the sauce a little bit. I mean, that was one of the main purposes of it being launched in the first place. Now, in order for it to be a sustainable product, you have to keep the interest of the fans. You need consumers, you need viewers. And I feel, if I'm being honest, it peaked at the beginning and then at the one-on-one tournament and never really again. Though the playoffs were competitive and fun, and some of the action was competitive and fun, and some of the attention that I want to see the championship numbers. That will be interesting because I did notice a big uptick again in sort of the reaction after Chelsea Gray and Rose BC won the Unrivaled championship. But overall, I've been a proponent for the league. I want to see it succeed. Remember, next year you got Paige Beckers as a part of it, Flau'jae Johnson. I know Juju, I don't know if she's technically signed up to play, but she was an investor as well. So more and more of the star power could be coming in next season, which obviously is only going to help Unrivaled grow, because some of the biggest stars in the league did not participate in the first year, notably Clark, Asia Wilson, who was sitting courtside at that game. Sabrina Ionescu came in and sort of, she was the big star that they signed at the last minute, but I didn't think that really panned out for them. No fault of anybody. Sabrina had her commitments, let them know beforehand, and they saw the value in bringing her in regardless. But, more and more WNBA women have bigger and bigger profiles now and are bigger and bigger stars. But, overall, just the mission statement. And they got a lot of commitments and sponsors and all that. So I'm interested to see the tweaks. I'm interested to see how it works going forward. I'm interested to see the sustainability. I mean, a lot of players did get to work on their game. We saw Angel working with Lisa Leslie. Let's shout out some of the other players who had really good Unrivaled. Ryan Howard, who I haven't really mentioned here, played really well for Vinyl. A lot of players put the work in and got to show off their game during the process of this and during the inaugural season. But I think that the negatives were injuries, and I think, to me, they needed a bigger replacement pool. And also, I think they could have been more transparent about the injuries. I do believe they were worried about the PR pushback on that. The positives were the competitiveness when it got close. I like the winning score, the novelty factor, of course, the one-on-one tournament worked, and of course, the financial benefits. So that's why I never got the railing against it or the hoping for the failure, because there are a lot of people that it made a difference for. And just because we're not, they were treated well from everything, the facilities were supposedly great. I know they're talking about maybe taking it on the road next season. Overall, a mixed bag. My mission statement has basically been, or not my mission statement, my takeaway has basically been, don't oversell, but don't undermine. And they got through a full season, which in itself is a win. They had some interest and some curiosity views. They had some good games. They had some competition. They had an idea. The NBA All-Star Game is trying to save. And they started a whole new thing, which is a difficult endeavor. But I did think it was noteworthy when I say mixed bag, for me, more positive than negative, because there's no downside, as I've said. But the bag that was delivered made a big difference. And you could see it on the social media comments from the participants, which isn't nothing.